Hi, welcome back to the channel. This is Paul's Stuff, a place where I can talk about all the things I love. Lots and lots of Star Wars, lots and lots of lightsabers at the moment, because that's kind of what I'm into right now. Got into lightsabers getting on for a year ago now, when I started doing a Jedi costume, and my collection has grown. And today I wanted to talk to you about another lightsaber. Regular followers of the channel will know that most of my sabers now come from Padawan Outpost. Great UK based firm, family run firm, great customer service, great prices. They currently do LGT sabers, which are made in China. That's generally what I collect from them. I believe they're also doing, going to be doing a range of higher end hilts from the likes of KR sabers and such, with custom installs. You get a nice little magazine with them. Don't think they're on the website yet, but they should be coming soon. So catering for all tastes, all pockets. They cover right from very, very reasonably priced baselit stunt sabers right up through to these high-end sabers that they're going to be selling. Today I wanted to look at one of their LGT sabers, and it's this one. This is their MW1. This is LGT's take on the Mace Windu lightsaber hilt. Beautiful, beautiful chrome and gold finish. Nicely set off with these sort of embossed inserts, if you can see those. Beautifully done. Nice soft feeling grips. I've added a simple brass blade plug from KR Sabers, from Saber Armory. Another great UK firm where I buy most of my blade plugs and other little bits and pieces from parts from. I've also changed the CoverTech wheel. When this came, it had a chrome silver CoverTech wheel on it. I believe the screen used sabers have a black CoverTech wheel, so I've replaced it with that. They also have a little washer behind the CoverTech wheel, and I've put that in, which meant I had to put a slightly longer screw in as well. It just moves it on a little bit. Padawan Outpost do this saber in two different versions. This is the MW1. They also had this saber as the BMF version that has BMF engraved, laser engraved across this part of the saber here. The reason for that is the crew on the prequel movies engraved one of Samuel L. Jackson's hilts with BMF, standing for bad. You can work out the rest. A bit of a reference to his character of Jules in Pulp Fiction, I believe. Anyway, you can get it with that on if you want. I decided to go for the plain hilt without that. It's a complete fingerprint magnet. It's constantly covered in fingerprints, but I don't mind that. It's a lovely hilt to hold. It's a great two-handed hilt. Single button operation. You can get these in baselit, you can get them in Xenopixel, which is what this one is, and you can get them in Profi. Nice and easy to access the core. So here's your Xenopixel board. Core's all exposed. The battery can be taken out easily. Really nice lightsaber from that point of view. This is again one of the newer Xenopixel boards. They used to have the SD card at the end in a slide-in holder. This now is a little slide clip, so you slide the clip back and then you can easily remove the SD card, and then when you want to put it back, you just position the SD card where it should be, put the cover down, slide it, and it's back in. A really nice saber from that point of view. Has two blade retention screws which are opposite each other. And as I always say with these that are opposite each other, if you tighten both of them, it can create a little fulcrum that the blade can rock on. Not so important with this one because it has a really deep blade socket, but if you've got thin necks with just two, I always recommend just tightening down one. Takes a 1-inch blade, comes as standard with a 36-inch long blade. This being Xenopixel, it's obviously a NeoPixel blade. I'll just pop that in. Really nice saber. So I'll just turn it on. You can go into the SD card on these and change all sorts of features. One of the things you can do, you can put custom sounds on for all the operational things. So normally when you get a Xenopixel, when you turn it on like that, it will say power on. I wanted mine to sound a little bit different, so I just replaced that sound file with a new sound file that sounds like the one you've just heard. So I have 5 sound fonts on this. I really only have 3 sound fonts on this, but I have 2 of them with Attack of the Clones quotes and also with Revenge of the Sith quotes. So the first one that's on here is Kybers BMF sound font. Got that in Attack of the Clones version with Attack of the Clones quotes on it. Then I've got K-Sith's Mace, again with Attack of the Clones quotes. Then I've got both of those fonts again, but with Revenge of the Sith fonts. And then the last one is one of the standard sound fonts that come with Xenopixel boards. It's called the Champion. I believe it's by Reaver's Arsenal. Can't be 100% on that, but I believe it is by them. And again, that's the kind of standard Mace Windu sound font that comes with Xenopixel sabers. So let's take a quick look at the blade when it's lit. And obviously the defining feature of Mace's blade is that it's purple. I've got a custom purple colour on this. I'll talk to you about that in a moment. So we've got all the usual blaster blocks, tip drag, lock up, and then obviously we have the quotes, which are on this font are from Attack of the Clones.
If they do, you must realize there aren't enough Jedi to protect the Republic. We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
So these are all quotes from Mace Windu from Attack of the Clones. Go to the next font.
This party's over.
Actually, we'll go.
May the Force be with us all. Master Windu.
So this is Casis Mace font, but this one now has Revenge of the Sith quotes on it. So very similar. Blaster block. Quick drag. Lock up. And then the quotes are from now Revenge of the Sith.
Chancellor Palpatine, for your right. General Grievous will run and hide as he always does. His counter.
The last font on here is the Champion. So this is a standard font from
the Champion.
The Xenopixels when you get them direct from LGT. This is already on the Saber. This has a slightly different purple colour. I'll talk you through that when I talk to you about how to set up a custom colour on here. So this is I think a more pinky purple. But again, you've got blaster blocks. Tip drag, lock up.
If they do, you must realize there aren't enough Jedi to protect the Republic.
And this has Revenge of the Sith quotes on it as well. All the usual gesture controls that you get with Xenopixel, so twist on, twist off. That's the only thing that I have set up on these. You can also set up stab on, stab off and swing on. Do have music files on each of the fonts. Just play that quickly. I don't want to get a copyright strike, but if you've got sound files, you've got soundtrack files on the font folders on your SD card, this will play them in order. So there's several sound files on there here that are relating to scenes that Mace is in. Just going to take the blade out so that this is a little bit easier to wield around for you, and then we'll talk about the setup that's on here. So when you access the SD card, if you take this this SD card out and put it into a computer, you'll find that there are several folders on it. Most of them are just numbered, but you will find one folder which is named Set. Now the numbered ones are the sound fonts. If you go into those, they have all the sound files in them for those particular sound fonts, for that particular sound font. So on this card, because there are 5 sound fonts, there are 5 folders that are numbered 1 to 5, and then there's a set folder. If you go into the set folder, you'll find a number of sound files. These are things like power on, power off, charging, all the things that get said by the Saber, regardless of which sound font you're in. So they're common sound files. You'll also find in there a file that's called config. You should be able to open that with any text editor. And that's where you can set up things like the gesture controls. You can set the length of the blade. Xenopixels now, you can adjust the length of the blade. So this is set up for a 36-inch, which I believe it's done by pixel count, so that's 132 pixels. if you've got a 32-inch blade, then you need to adjust that figure down to 114, and for a 28-inch blade it's 99. So you can adjust that. You can't adjust that for each sound font, but you can adjust it for this saber. So once you've adjusted it, this saber will always use, in this instance, a 36-inch blade. One of the other interesting things that you can do as you get towards the bottom of the config file, you'll see some lines that look like this. They'll have colour, then a number, then some more numbers in brackets, and some more numbers after the brackets. So colour is always there. The first number is the sound font folder number. So this is sound font folder 1. Then you can set various parameters for the blade that relate to, that will just come on with that sound font. So for this one, sound font 1, the first 3 figures here are the colour, and they relate to red, green and blue. So you generate colours on lightsaber blades by mixing red, green and blue light, and these are, the higher the number, you can go up to 255 on each number. The higher the number, the brighter that colour will be. So this one has a little bit of red, no green, and about half the brightness of blue. And that gives me the purple that you saw on that first, on the first couple of sound fonts that I showed you on the blade. The last sound font, the champion one, which I said had a slightly different colour, that was 255025. So full on red, full on blue, no green. Hope that makes some sense. You can go on the internet. I'll put a link in the description to a website where you can go and you can kind of pick a colour, and it will tell you what these numbers are for that colour. So if you want an orange blade, it will tell you the numbers for an orange blade. If you want a yellow blade, it will tell you the numbers for a yellow blade. And these are pretty much infinite in terms of the different colours you can get. So this setup is my custom purple setup. That's the purple I chose to go with for my Mace Windu. The next set of figures relate to the blade itself and the effects you can put on it. So the first figure is the blade effect. And depending on what number you put in there, you will get a different blade effect. So 0 is a fire blade, 1 is a steady blade, 2 is a pulse blade, which is what this one is set to. 3 is the rainbow blade, 4 is a candy blade, 5 is unstable, and 6 is a cracked blade, which it has white flashes that come across the blade from time to time. The next figure, the one that says 300 here, that's the ignition time of this sound font. So I believe it's in milliseconds. This one will ignite in 300 milliseconds. That means it will, the LEDs will go up the blade and ignite the whole blade in 300 milliseconds. And the second number here, the 800, that's the retraction time. So that's the time it takes for the LEDs to go back down to the hilt when you turn the saber off. So this one comes out a little bit quicker than it goes back in, about twice as quick as it goes back in. And the last figure That's the blade styles. And again, you have a number of options with that. This is where the different ignition styles and things come in. So 0 is a standard blade, that's standard ignition. Blade just comes out, goes back. 1 is blaster blade. So this is a blade effect on Xenopixels where when you ignite the blade doesn't actually come on. When you press the button, the blade will shoot down the blade, a light will shoot down the blade like a blaster bolt. So hence blaster blade. 2 is ghost blade. So when you turn this on, as long as the saber is still, you won't get any light. As soon as you start to move it, the light will get brighter the faster you move it. So that's ghost blade. Then we get onto the ignition types. 3 is broken ignition. So these are effects that only happen when you turn the lightsaber on. So this gives you, if you have 3 on this last figure, it will give you this broken ignition effect. And there are several different ignition types. 4 is warp ignition, 5 is stack ignition, 6 is phaser ignition, 7 is photon ignition, 8 is scavenger ignition, and 9 is hunter ignition. They all have subtly different styles. I believe the scavenger one or the hunter one is like a ray ignition, so that if you've got a blade in, that will flash green and then the blade color will ignite from the green. All sorts of things like that. Not going to go through them here, but that gives you some idea of how customizable the Xenopixel board is. With the blade styles and the blade effects, you can change those on the saber. So you change those by holding the button down when the saber is off for 3 seconds for the blade effects. So that's things like the fire blade, unstable, crack blade, candy blade, rainbow blade. Those you get by holding down the button for 3 seconds. You can cycle through those on the saber. Whichever one you choose will be related to that sound font. It puts a little config file into the sound font. So if you do change it on the saber, you are changing what you've set up in this initial setup for the sound font. For the blade styles, the ones we've just gone through, the ignition types and ghost blade and blaster blade, you hold the button down for 4 seconds, or for 4. It's actually 4 flashes. It's about 3.5 seconds. So you can do those on the saber. I find them quite difficult to do, particularly on sabers like this, where it's designed as a system to work with the lit buttons that you get on some sabers. They actually flash. So they'll flash once when you're changing the sound volume, twice when you're changing the blade effects, and 3 times when you're changing the blade styles. And then they'll blink 4 times when you change the actual sound font. So a little bit of a rundown there on what happens with these Xenopixel boards. So hopefully you can see they are quite customizable. They're nowhere near as customizable as high-end boards. They don't have the same sound quality as high-end boards. They don't have the same flexibility as high-end boards, but they are very customizable. You get a lot for what you pay for them. I really like them. I like them mainly because they have a more straightforward single button setup for controlling them. And I have a lot of sabers now. I use them for costuming, and when I'm costuming, I know if I've picked a saber up, I know exactly how it's going to work, because they're all the same. I set them up all the same. So anyway, beginning to waffle a little bit. Don't want to do too much of that and bore you all. Once again, this is the MW1 from Padawan Outpost, a Mace Windu inspired lightsaber hilt from LGT. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please consider giving it a like. And if you like this sort of content, then please do subscribe to the channel. It'd be great to see you coming back to see other videos. If you tap on the little bell icon as well when you subscribe, you'll get notifications of when I put up new videos. Can be a bit random when I put videos up. I don't have a regular schedule for putting them up. Sometimes there'll be none for a couple of weeks, and then there'll be 2 or 3. Sometimes it's 1 a week. It varies. I'm not in a position to be able to do regularly scheduled videos for the channel, but hopefully, if you like the content, take a look or two at what's already on the channel. There's lots of videos about these LGT Xenopixel sabers now. If that's your sort of thing, then you'll probably like the channel. So anyway, at the risk of waffling on too much, I'm going to stop there and say goodbye to you. So cheerio, and hope to see you again soon. Bye.